to episode 2 of the Game of Life podcast. We are very excited to have, hopefully, not be as much of a mess as the first episode. We were very nervous, full transparency right here, gonna expose ourselves, but we were very nervous. But we're hoping that this episode goes a little more smooth because we prepped and we kind of know what mistakes we want to fix from the first episode. But it's all about growth, right? That's what the game of life is about. So, yeah.
Do we know what mistakes we want to fix, though?
We'll get there. It's all about growth.
Okay.
It's all about playing the game of life, Gabby. But anyway, during our first episode, we kind of recapped our first semester as college students. And we decided that, it's only fair that our second episode we go even further back and recap high school as a whole. So that's what we're going to be doing today. But yeah, with that being said, let's get straight into it. So, yeah, I don't know where to start with high school. I feel like high school is just a very big part of anyone's life. But, I don't know. I don't know where to go from here.
I can take it. So while I am based in the Bay Area, I actually spent 10 years of my life in the Philippines, and I finished high school in California for junior and senior
Yes.
year.
The faded junior
Yes.
year when we met and became friends.
Junior year was chaotic,
It
though,
was.
but I'll get
Yes.
more into that later. Um, I guess there were a few obvious differences coming from Asia coming here. It was
It was
colder
colder.
for sure.
I can't really say much though because I haven't had that much experience with school in Asia because I went to school in Asia for kindergarten and it was just a few months at that.
Mhm.
It wasn't like a whole year or anything. But yeah, so I'm interested to hear what you have to say about it because I feel like we've never really delved into this and I haven't heard the full story. So continue. Sorry for interrupting.
All good, all good. Um, I feel like in the Philippines it was really easy to make friends, but because I went to a school with such a small graduating class size, I had about 42 kids in my graduating class in contrast to California where my graduating class size was
Mm-hmm.
600 people. So you were very limited like when it came to making connections, and every year you'd be stuck with the same people, you'd be taking the same classes together, and despite our class size being really small, it was really really cliquey, and for there was a lot of drama that simulated like in school on a daily basis. But when I got to California, since it was easier to branch out, and there were so many more options to meet other people, because your classes had you would have different classmates in each of your classes. You could pick what classes you wanted to take. Um, I feel like it was easier to avoid drama in California in contrast to the Philippines.
Yeah, earlier, there's something that you said a little bit, a few seconds ago or so, but you said that your class size was so small. And I feel I'm not trying to one up you or anything here, but oh my gosh, I, totally get that because my class size, because I went to private school until 8th grade. So I was in private school literally from
Right.
preschool all the way to 8th grade. And it was the same school, same environment, same people. So I had a graduating class size of 16 kids. Um,
That's
yeah,
a
it was
yikes.
a very small class size. And honestly, if any of those people are listening now, shout out to you guys because I would say, we were all pretty well bonded and we all used to talk to each other and kind of I mean, then again, who else would you talk to and be friends with when you have a class size of 16? But man, oh my god, my first day of high school, bro. It was such a mess because coming from a class size of 16 where you know everyone and your campus is very small as well, our campus size, I would say, was probably the entirety of campus was probably as big as our quad. So
Oh,
it was very easy to get around and stuff. And you kind of knew every nook and cranny of your school and you knew everyone there. And it was you'd been there. Well, personally, I had been there since preschool, so I knew these people. I knew the teachers. I knew everyone there. But the first day of high school, I was such a nervous wreck. I remember, first of all, didn't eat breakfast because I was nauseous. I was like, I'm going to throw up. I'm freaking out. I don't know what's in store for me. But then it gets even worse because I obviously didn't know anyone, and I feel like the thing about high school is that everyone comes from their middle schools where they kind of already have friend groups, right? So I was so nervous because I was like, oh my gosh, everyone's gonna have friends already. I'm not gonna be able to talk to anyone. I'm gonna be alone. And the first day went by and it was a giant mess, and I spent the entire day almost alone. I did find one person, which I'll get to later, but um I remember the biggest part, the one thing that I will never forget about that first day is I went home that day after the end of the school day, got home, didn't even fully step into my house, opened the door of my house. My mom was waiting for me because she was back from work early that day. I was stepped into the house and closed the door and just started sobbing, full on tears. I was in
Brandon, no.
I was just straight out upset and scared and nervous because I was I remember my mom was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "Mom, I don't know anyone. Everyone has friends already." And man, it was just such a mess. And I remember it's the funniest part is my mom got so concerned that she was like, "Oh my god, do you want to be homeschooled and stuff like that?" And I was like, "Yes." And the next day, I land myself in a friend group with Belinda, Evelyn, and Genevieve. Our good friends. But yeah, so, and it's great because the thing is, I feel like the only reason I ever got into that friend group or made friends that fast is because of the extracurricular I was in. I played tennis, right? And Belinda and I had met what was it, in seventh grade for some sports center league type thing that our parents both put us in for summer because obviously we had nothing to do in middle school. So yeah, that's where we met. And I remember bumping into her on the first day, and not only after school at tennis but also in the quad next to the cafeteria. And I was like, "Belinda?" And she was like, "Brenda." We both just kind of had this moment of recognition, and before you knew it, I was in a friend group with them. And then slowly, you came in, and all our other friends came in, and we had this kind of big little,
11
well,
person. Big little.
big little. But we kind of developed that group of people, and honestly, if it weren't for tennis, I don't know where I would have been in high school. Straight up, that I really don't know. I feel like I would have been such a loner because I knew nobody. But yeah,
It worked out.
it worked out.
You branched out really well
Yeah, yeah,
from
yeah.
what I noticed in high school.
I mean, but yeah, that's the good thing about having, an extracurricular or a club
Mm-hmm.
or a sport that you play, right? It's you all have something in common, so it's very easy to start talking about that and
Right.
then kind of build your way from there and like, become closer to these people. By the end of my high school life, the tennis team was such a big part of like, who I was friends with and who I was and the way I developed and stuff like that. A lot of that I have to attribute to the tennis team. By the time I became captain in senior year and I was finally leading this team and everything, these girls were the people that were always there. It was I would look forward to after school tennis and practicing, and even all our torturous conditioning days and stuff like that. It was still great because we were all so close and we were all so bonded, and it's just such a good place to start when
Mm-hmm.
you're such a loner like me coming in from a school of 16 kids. But yeah.
I had a similar experience actually coming into Homestead.
Mhm.
Um, Oh, I shouldn't have dropped our school. You can cut that out.
No, it's
But
okay. It's okay. I think we can talk
okay,
about it because it's in our like.
because we're gone.
Yeah, and it's not even that. It's still in my bio. Like I still have it. Like
Really?
HHS. Yeah, I still have HHS 20 next to like my college stuff. But
As
yeah,
soon as I graduated, I was like, okay, time to delete
delete.
that.
Throw that part of my life out the window. But continue. You mentioned you had a similar experience.
Oh, hold up. Google Play services stopped responding. I don't know what that means. But I did have a similar experience where I came into high school in California not knowing anyone because I came from another country. Although I think you did mention that there was you knew someone in your class who was from the Philippines, which is kind of like, what are the odds? But other than that,
I did.
yeah. Maybe it wasn't you, but somebody mentioned
I'm trying
it.
to recall when that happened. I'm just like, who did I know? But yeah, move on, move on.
um, so I didn't know anyone, but my first class of the day on my first day at school was yearbook.
Yes.
And and while a yearbook is more of like an after school club at most schools,
Hmm.
from what I know, it was a class at our school. So first period, like I got to know people and I had connections. And if it weren't for yearbook, I probably wouldn't have like gained the confidence to like branch out and find more
Yeah.
people because I was really comfortable like talking to the yearbook staff and Brenda. Thank you, Brenda.
No, because I think that's one of the good things about yearbook is that you kind of because especially on the first day, like having that as a first period class is so nice because besides the like the returning staff, no one else really knows each other.
Right.
So if you're not coming back from the year before, everyone's new to you anyway. So it's really nice to be able to kind of like have that fresh start. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely not the same as having like a whole new like day of school or anything like that, but it's I feel like that was such a good place to start for you because none of us really knew each other anyway.
Yeah.
And even the returning staff, like, yes, we have had experiences together before and stuff like that, but more than anything, we want to bond with the new staff and, like,
Mm-hmm.
whoever's, you know, different and new, like, part of, part of what, part of that is just, bleh, English, but
English.
English. But yeah, no, it's just really nice because like part of the thing that part of the I keep saying part of and
Part of
not
the
moving on,
part.
but part of the prep that we do beforehand is think about like icebreakers and how to
Mm-hmm.
introduce stuff and things like that because that's all we do the first week or so, right? All we do is get to know the new people. So it was really nice getting to like meet someone like you and like the other new people who I will not name drop, but yeah, And then obviously we had that early trip, right, where we wait, was Chicago a winter trip or a spring trip? I don't
It
remember.
was a winter
Oh
or
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
fall.
Okay.
Same thing.
Yeah, cuz I was trying to think, but I feel like that trip also bonds us a lot more. I mean, you and I especially, like that's
Mm-hmm.
where we really solidified our friendship and kind of bonded and stuff cuz you're traveling with these people and it's like you kind
Right.
of have to get to know them to be able to travel with them and stuff. So, it was really good. I mean, I feel like that's what extracurriculars do. They just kind of it's such an easy way to get to know people and get to meet people. Like some of our closest friends are
Mm-hmm.
still people that we met in yearbook or for me like people I met in tennis, right? So, yeah, I mean, shout out to all the extracurriculars that we took in high school.
What other extracurriculars did you do in high school?
Like nothing. I don't think I did much. I remember like my first day, or like not my first day, but my first year, I attempted to get into FBLA, and I have nothing against
Mm-hmm.
FBLA. They're very good group of people, and like they
Yeah.
do have drama and stuff, or at least from what I heard back in
Right.
our high school. But other than that, like a very solid group of people. They're all hardworking and like they deserve all the awards and
All the
competitions and
wins.
stuff that they end up going to, right? So, but I don't know. It just like I tried to get into it, and then I started missing meetings. We talked about this in the last episode where I missed all my club meetings for college, so I haven't been in the club yet. But same thing happened in high school where I just started missing meetings and started like missing out, and I was like, yeah, like I'll go next time. Didn't go. Oh yeah, no, it's okay. I'll just go next time. Didn't go. So, you know, it's just I don't know. I don't think I I'm actually trying to think about it. I don't think I did anything besides yearbook and tennis. Like those were my two biggest things, and everything else, I don't know.
And that's fine. Like, you seem very into both, and like, you committed a lot of your time to both.
Yeah, I mean, yearbook first of all is a time commitment. It's so demanding.
Right.
But otherwise, I mean, I was content with doing both. A lot of people feel like they need to do more because of college apps and
College.
things like that. And like that's understandable. Like yes, you want to make yourself seem like you do a lot of things, but
Hmm.
at the same time, it's like, you know,
At the end of the day, like, you should like focus on like what you really like.
yeah, exactly. I feel like that's something that a lot of high schoolers overlook. You have to like
Hmm.
focus on things you genuinely enjoy doing and be passionate about what you're doing.
Right.
It's not just about, oh, I want to do this because it'll make me look good for college, right? So I just I just never think that the extracurricular should be about the quantity, you know?
Right.
It's like quality over quantity, right? But yeah, if you're not like, and the other thing is, if you're not passionate about whatever extracurricular you're
Like, why
in,
bother doing
you're
it?
not gonna. Yeah, it's like not only are you gonna be miserable doing it, you're not gonna
Right.
want to do it. It's not gonna be like something that you're gonna put your full effort and
Right.
potential into. Like with yearbook, although it was a class, it was still like something that we committed so much time to. You know, we were there after school. You know, it whether it was like events or just like
Hmm.
working after school to get stuff done. We did it because we enjoyed it and not just because it would look better on college applications, right? So, yeah. And the other thing is, I feel like back to the whole idea of doing things for the college application, I feel like that's another thing about Silicon Valley high
Hmm.
school culture where everyone is so pressurized and tense and like just very I don't know how else to say it, but like that heavy feeling of like everything
Right.
counts for college. Like, yes, but no. And a lot of that just stems from like Silicon Valley culture and how like the environment that we're in kind of portrays college
Right.
and stuff like that. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like obviously I can't really compare to anything else because I only ever went to college in the Silicon Valley, but I don't know. I just don't like I would love to talk about this with a guest maybe from
Yeah.
another state or something and see like how other people deal with high school and college and stuff like that. But man, the Silicon Valley, tough place to
Right.
be when you're a high schooler. Oh, but yeah.
I feel like it's because, like, obviously you probably have like a different perspective, but I feel like it's because like most of the parents in the area are in the tech industry, which is like a really like heavy
True.
industry. Like, you work really hard to get computer science or like engineering degrees, and then you like a lot of the parents in the area like go on to work at like big name companies. Like, we're near Google, we're near Apple, those kinds of companies. So like the pressure is on like their kids to like work really hard, get into a really good college, and like succeed.
Yeah. So but yeah, no, I get that because it's like, I feel like everyone. That's the other thing about Silicon Valley. So many people in the Silicon Valley either go for like the CS route or the like health
Yes.
and medicine route because that's all the like obviously the majority of the Silicon Valley centers around tech and CS,
Right.
but I feel like that's all
Yeah.
anyone in the Silicon Valley does. It's like I was gonna compare it to like the Asian mindset where we're always like, you have to be an engineer or a doctor or it ain't it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just Silicon Valley culture, man.
I feel like at our
The
school though, like there were like a good number of like people who weren't like focused in STEM. Like a lot of my
Oh
friends
yeah,
were
for
like into
sure.
like law
That's the
and
good thing
business.
about Homestead, I feel like, where we're very diverse. Like, I don't mean to like put down any of the other schools in that area, but as an example, right, Monta Vista is a lot more Asian centered
Right.
than than Homestead, right? And even in the sense of like ignoring the fact that they're a lot more Asian centered and stuff, we just have a lot more diversity in terms of interests and
Hmm.
like people and things like that. So I guess it also depends on the school you go to, and it's not all determined by Silicon Valley culture, but it's just a very big
Right.
influence, you know. But yeah. So okay, So earlier we mentioned that some people do extracurriculars for college and not for
Hmm.
themselves. I want to know what is a class that you or not an extracurricular, a
Oh.
class that you took that you didn't wish or that you like that you no, what is a class you took that you wish you didn't take and like had replaced it with something else? Or like essentially what's a class you took that you kind of took for like AP creds or
Hmm.
college that you wish you hadn't taken?
Okay. Um. I was gonna say AP US history, but I low-key had fun in A push, so
I
like
was expecting A push. The first thing I was like, oh, she's gonna say
no, no,
A
no.
push.
Actually, I'm gonna go with honors pre-calculus. Like,
Oh,
yeah. um,
yeah. I wouldn't know because I took regular
mhm.
pre-calc. We called it math analysis before they changed it to pre-calc. But yeah, no, I took math analysis and I was fine. I mean, I used to sit in the back of the class the entire year and just do my
Mhm.
work and get things done early and then just chill with two people who I'm not gonna name drop, but we all used to have a like table in the back, and she just wouldn't move us, the teacher, because she knew we always finished our stuff and just kind of sat there and talked. But
Good
yeah,
for you guys.
I mean, it was a very chill class. Like I enjoyed being in that class because it was
Mhm.
so chill. Because we had all taken like me and the other two girls, we had all taken two trig
Mhm.
the year before, and that kind of like already gave us all the pre-calc stuff we really needed to know. So we were kind of because we what happened to us was we got scared out of taking pre-calc honors because we had all had the same two trig teacher, and she was like, "Oh, you guys aren't ready for pre-calc
What?
honors, but I'm gonna put like recommend you for it anyway because your grade says I should recommend you for it, but pre-calc honors is a big thing and stuff, like." And we all kind of got scared out of taking pre-calc honors, only to realize while we were in regular pre-calc that it wasn't that bad, and like pre-calc honors was pretty chill. But yeah, that was I don't know. That part was kind of confusing, but also I really didn't mind because there wasn't much of a difference,
Mhm.
and pre-calc was super chill, and I still did well in calc after. So
Good for you. Meanwhile, um,
go
so
on.
the reason why I chose to take pre-calc honors is because at my school in the Philippines, I took all my math classes were honor classes, and I wanted to keep that streak going.
Oh, I feel that. I feel
Yeah.
that.
Um,
Because it's like coming from, sorry to
no, no,
interrupt,
go
but
for it.
coming from private school where you're kind of spoon fed everything for the sake of their reputation, I don't know if it was like a bit of overconfidence, but coming in, I feel like I was a little bit overconfident with myself and like overestimated my abilities and what I could handle and stuff. Like I did well my first year and I was fine, but I was so used to being spoon fed
Right,
everything,
right.
Like you literally get things handed to you, and I
Private
was like,
school.
oh, like I should be fine, I'll take all the higher level classes and stuff. Realized that was not the move by sophomore year, and quickly, quickly took myself out of a lot of like
Hmm.
higher level classes. But yeah, continue.
I felt that too. Like, I felt like I had to take. I felt like the classes would be the same as the ones I took in the Philippines, where everything was spoon fed to you and everything was structured really well. But in honors pre-calc at our school, our teacher would just be like, "Oh, you can do the homework independently. We'll spend like the first half of the period like learning new content, and then the other half like you can just do work." And like that wasn't like the same as like private school, and I
Yeah.
started slipping in that class to the point where my guidance counselor reached out to me and was like, "Do you want to switch to normal pre-calc?" And I was like,
Oh
"No, no, I can do it," but um,
no.
I
Oh
couldn't do
no.
it.
No, honestly, I feel like a lot of us make that mistake in high school where we're kind of like I don't want to generalize
Right.
everyone and say a lot of us, but I've definitely
Mm-hmm.
been there. Like I have definitely been there, sis. I get you. Oh, but
Is there
yeah.
any class you regret taking?
I don't think so. Like I feel like yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like there was any class I fully like regret taking. I definitely had bad class experiences. For example, like chem honors, physics honors.
Physics honors was an
Yikes.
experience.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's absolute madness of a class. But um I don't know, like I feel like I never took a class that I was like, "Oh, like I'm not going to be able to handle this," or like things like that. And the one time I did, which was Calc 1, right? Or Calc no, they call it Calc
Mm-hmm.
AB in high school. Sorry, I'm so used to the
Same,
college
same.
terms now that I'm like, but yeah, Calc AB. Um, dropped out of it within the first 6 weeks because I was like, this teacher is not helping me. I am not gonna do well in the class. But yeah, and then I ended up taking that at a college, so I kind of got out of the class that I didn't really wish to take anyway. But yeah, no, I don't think I regretted any class. So yeah, I think we're good on that one. But I don't
For
know.
the record, there was
I
like
do want.
nothing wrong with like the way my classes were taught. It wasn't just like good for me.
No, I get that. High school's
Yeah,
like that. You kind of take classes and like the teachers are fine and stuff and like they do try
yeah.
their best to
I had
get
some pretty good
concepts across to
teachers,
you.
but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But sometimes the class
yeah,
just sucks and you struggle with the concepts and that's okay. Like that happens to everyone.
yeah.
It's fine. But moving on from classes, do you think that the classes you took, or I guess we're not really moving on from classes then if I'm asking about classes, but do you think that the classes you took kind of helped you determine what major you were going into, or was that totally like out, away from your academics in high school and stuff?
So I'm a CS major, Silicon Valley
Yes.
influence, and also my dad.
Yes.
Um, uh, I would say like a little bit, but it was like barely anything. In freshman year, I had to take a tech class where you learn how to use Google Slides, Excel, Google Docs. Like, I don't know why we had to take that class because all those things are like easy. But around the second semester, I think our teacher switched gears and was like, "Yo, you guys should learn about HTML."
Mhm.
So he started teaching a little bit about that, and
And this is back in the
yeah,
Philippines, right? Just to clarify. Okay.
um, and I learned how to make websites, and I thought that was really cool. Obviously, like computer science isn't just limited to making websites, so I wanted to like branch out. So I poked around. I did a little bit of exploring. I tried making games on the side. Um, Around sophomore year, I attended
Mm.
2 summer camps and took 2 courses on computer science, and I think that's what really got me into it. It wasn't necessarily like the high school courses. I feel like the high
Mhm.
school courses like just nudged me a little bit, and a lot of like deciding that I wanted to major in CS was like based on like personal exploration. And my dad, who is a software engineer, and was like, "You should do it. It pays well."
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like with high school, again, as we said in the first episode, it's all like, it's all like college GEs,
Right.
where it's kind of all general education stuff because they want to expose you to
Right.
everything, And, like, I guess part of that is to help you decide, but I feel like so many people don't actually decide what they want to do from their high school classes.
Yeah.
They either know where beforehand, they go undecided, or they find out because they take, like, do something during
Yeah.
summer, or, you know, do something during a break that they really enjoy and suddenly, like, get into something. Because, like, for me, for example, man, one of I used to fluctuate so much between like what I wanted to do before I finally decided on my major, but it was always like I remember like man, third grade me was like, "Mom, I want to be a pediatrician one day."
Damn,
And look where
Brenda.
I ended up
Ambitious.
in mechanical engineering. I went from "Mom, I want to be a pediatrician" to "Mom, I'm gonna be a mechanical engineer." But I mean, then again, elementary school you is probably like doesn't really know what being a pediatrician entails.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I feel like for me, I kind of figured that I was gonna go into STEM. I just didn't, and like engineering, I just didn't know what exactly. Because, like, for a little while, it was civil, right? Like in sophomore year, kind of, sophomore, junior year, I was like, oh, maybe I'll do civil because, you know, architecture, like, interests me. I build things with my uncle all the time, which is very different from actual, like, architecture and stuff. So, you know, but, like, a lot of it stemmed from like doing things with my uncle or like you know just like self exploration and like just kind of looking things up on my own and being like, huh, this is kind of cool, like I kind of want to do this for the rest of my life. And then I feel like yearbook actually kind of influenced what I wanted to do because yearbook is all about working behind the scenes and kind of like putting together something that goes out as a finished product and no one really gets to see the behind the scenes, which is fine. Like, you don't need to see the behind the scenes. But like I feel like mechanical engineering has a similar concept where you work behind the scenes on a lot of things and then you get to put out like this final product that works really well and stuff like that. And the other thing with mechanical engineering is like it kind of goes with everything, like you can get a degree in mechanical engineering and start working on cars. You can focus on aerospace and start working on like aerospace things like spaceships
Aerospace
and
things.
satellites and things like that. Yeah, we'll just generalize it. Aerospace things. And then trains, like anything that moves essentially, or like things like that. And also like smaller things too, like for example, I don't know how accurate this is because I didn't end up watching the whole video on this, but I did watch a video on a mechanical engineer who worked on like the headphone band for Beats.
Oh.
And like making it durable and stuff like that. And that was also mechanical engineering, which kind of like opened my eyes to another level of like things that you could go into with this degree and stuff, right? So that kind of stuff just kind of gets really like gets me excited anyway. Like I'm excited to kind of build things and work on things and be able to like, it's kind of like trial and error as well. It's just the idea of working behind the scenes on something that's like bigger,
Yeah.
kind of,
It's a good feeling.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. So, that's kind of how I ended up with mechanical engineering, I guess. But, yeah.
It's cool how yearbook tied into it because they're not very similar.
Yeah, it's like not similar at all, but that like concept,
Right,
just
right.
the underlying concept of like being able to work on something behind the scenes, right? And then having it come to life in a real tangible product, like that's great. Like I feel like personally I could never work on something that I couldn't like hold in my hands or like touch, Like I want to be able to work on stuff that I can feel and things like that. And mechanical engineering is great for that. Like who knows? Maybe one day I'll be working on NASA's team or something.
NASA
like
hire her.
We'll see. NASA hire me. Wait. NASA hire me. Well, moving on from like, or not moving on essentially, but I think the other thing that influenced the whole engineering idea was in freshman and sophomore year, I became very close to a set of twins that were seniors my sophomore year, so they were 2 years older than me. And one of them was on yearbook, but she was going into civil engineering, and she used to talk about this kind of stuff every now and then, and we used to like talk about it, and her ideals, I guess, kind of transferred, and I was like, whoa, like, imagine like a little like freshman going, whoa, that's so cool. I want to do that one day. But like, I feel like that's the importance of like kind of making friends that with people that are older than you, or like upperclassmen essentially, right? Obviously you came in as an upperclassman, as a junior, but you were still friends with people who were seniors and stuff like that. And they, as much as like, I don't think people realize it until those people graduate and kind of go away, but they have such an influence on people like us and how we kind of grow and like develop and get through high school essentially, right? Like there are so many people like upperclassmen that I met in yearbook, for example, that I still talk to and still look up to, and just like good people that kind of not necessarily like lead you but help guide you, kind of, right? So I think that's just like, even if you don't realize it, like there is such an importance behind being friends with those kinds of people and being friends with like upperclassmen essentially. Like it makes it, I honestly this makes it sound like we're just sitting there using these people. And like, I don't mean that, I don't mean to make it sound like that.
Not at all.
But
like, I had good friends who were like older than me, like you mentioned. Like I knew this one guy on yearbook who was the design editor of my junior year, and he was really good. And the next year I took his position, I became design editor, and I got a lot of help from him, even though he was like off at college, and he really helped me like learn new design techniques.
He'll know who he is.
He'll know who he is if he's listening.
If he bothers to listen to us.
I don't think he's gonna listen to us.
No, but like I get that, because I took his place as photo editor after he did.
And how did that go?
Man, like, I felt like when I first got the position, I was low-key scared, because I was like,
Same.
oh my gosh, like, I have to live up to the standards that he's left for me, and like, I feel like we both look up to this person a lot, right? And like, we always like joke about it and stuff, but like, man, the level that this person is at is just like insane, like for us anyway, like as younger, like, I didn't want to say like disciples but like as friends, I guess, like it's and like the fact that we are younger obviously, and we watch like someone like him like do what he does and then kind of grow to take that position. I was so scared that I was gonna mess up and he was gonna be like, I can't believe the standard you've come to after the standards I've left and stuff like that. But I feel like you learn so much, even though he's a very silent and like,
you're really exposing
quiet
him
person. I know, I really am exposing. I'm so sorry. Please don't come after me. We look up to you. We really promise. Do. We really do, though. Like, there's just so much that you can learn from upperclassmen in general. And yeah, like that's just one example of, I feel like, many that we've had. So, yeah. I swear he's gonna watch this and we're DM us like, what? Oh my gosh.
I don't think he's gonna watch it, if that makes you feel any better.
You never know. You never know. Maybe we'll do a clip of this called Exposing Our Upperclassmen. Oh, but yeah.
I don't think this will make him feel better, but because he helped me with design stuff, we got a higher rating than him for our yearbook. So, thanks.
Honestly. We're just better. No, I'm kidding.
That could also be
I don't think we could... Yeah, who knows? Maybe we are just better. No. not to
Yeah.
flex or anything, but no, I'm kidding. Oh, but yeah, man, high school is a time.
A time and a half.
A time and a half. I feel like that's what makes graduating so much more, like, fulfilling or satisfying, I guess. The fact that, like, you kind of make it through all of this, like, pressure, and, like, you meet all these people, and you're finally like, oh, I'm graduating. But it sucks for us, because we graduated in a pandemic.
I graduated in my car.
Oh my god, same, though. Same. Literally drove past people, and that was our graduation.
Pretty much.
Man, that was very sad. I was so upset, because I was like, man, we did this work for 4 years, and you're telling me that I'm going to sit at home and watch people talk about me on a Google Slides presentation that they made like a week ago? Or not even talk about us, just say our names and like
flash our
move
picture.
on. Like,
yeah.
exactly, you know, like I feel like that ending, that culmination of everything, we just missed out on that.
I feel like there is one upside, and honestly, you'll probably be like, that's not that big an upside, but we didn't have to sit in the sun for 3 hours, so there's that.
Facts. We did not have to do graduation practice and stuff.
That's true.
That all the seniors always complain about while we're in classes. But, yeah, I mean, I guess.
I guess.
I guess.
Like, it still would have been nice to, like, say bye to, like, you know, the younger students that we were friends with, and, like, take photos, and, like, walk on the stage.
Yeah, like, we literally ended up going to a nearby, like, where did we
went
go?
to, like,
Was
a
it
park.
Yeah, it was like the Grove,
Yeah.
the Redwood Grove or whatever. I don't know what it's called, but we ended up going there and just getting our own pictures together. And even that was iffy, because we were like, oh, we have to, like, wear masks, but then for the pictures, we don't want to be in masks. But yeah, it's very sad to, like, end up graduating in a pandemic. But I kind of feel worse for the people for the college graduates, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like that's so much more of a struggle, because college is a lot more, you know? Obviously, we haven't experienced that yet, but
we will
soon enough.
Like, we've heard the horror stories.
So excited to, you know, sit there and cry about all the college classes that we're struggling to get through. It's okay, we'll just, you know, go back to our upperclassmen and be like, help us. Help us, we don't know what we're doing.
But do they know what they're doing?
I feel like they put on the front, but deep down... Honestly, they're probably struggling just as much as we are. Besides graduating in a pandemic, I feel like the other thing that sucked for us was the fact that we kind of lost our senior summer, like, all the fun senior things we were meant to do, you know? And especially because I feel like you and I and our, like, group of friends, we ended up sacrificing, I guess, a lot of our outside school, like, outside academic social life because we are also, like, academically oriented, and we all have, like, you know, we're, like, all just very scared, I guess, of, you know, oh, what if I go to this place with my friends and end up missing out on study time for that test next week, you know? But I feel like that's, if there's any regrets that I had, it would be the fact that we gave that up, but only because of COVID. Like, if it wasn't for COVID, you know, we had so many plans. So many plans. Of course, the SoCal trip, and, you know, like, ditch day plans, and all sorts of things, all sorts of fun things that we were meant to do but didn't get to do. And I don't know, I feel like to the people that are in high school now, I guess, don't do what we did. Go out with your friends, have fun, you know, like, all throughout high school, because that's just one thing that I feel like our group of friends in particular regrets a little bit. The fact that we saved, like, all the fun social stuff that we were going to do for senior year, and then ended up missing out on
Yeah.
all of it because of COVID. Like, I'm not saying that, oh, you never know, like, there's gonna be more pandemics, and you're probably gonna miss out on stuff. Like, you might not. You might get lucky and not have to experience the after effects of COVID or beat another pandemic and stuff, hopefully. But, I don't know, just go out, do stuff.
Yeah, like, in the long run, you'll remember that time, like, you went to San Francisco with your friends over the time you studied for A-Push.
Facts. Especially because A-Push is not going to count in,
A-Push
like,
is not it.
a couple years, you know? I feel like no one cares. Like, the moment you get into college, you're kind of like...
You can drop
everything.
everything.
You can low-key drop everything. Like, don't actually drop everything, but low-key be able to drop everything and kind of relax a little more.
Yeah.
So... I mean, that was kind of our thinking going into it, I guess. Like, we were like, oh, like, just until we get, like, you know, finish college apps and get in and stuff, and then we'll have all our fun and go do things, and that just never happened because of the pandemic.
Right.
So, big sad. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like that was the one thing we kind of missed out on in terms of balancing. Like, we weren't very good at balancing our academic and social life. We were so heavily into our academic life that we didn't really do much in terms of social life. But in terms of recapping high school, what else did you do? So we had, you know, gave up a social life for the academic life, unfortunately. Not entirely, but to a certain extent. And then, you know, we have covered, what is it? We
talked about extracurriculars. Classes.
But
we talked about using the upperclassmen.
Using the upperclassmen. Well, that's what we should title this.
Using upperclassmen.
Bean and Gib use their upperclassmen? No. We promise we're good friends with our upperclassmen. Well, most of them.
They probably beg to differ, but...
They probably hate us, you know? They're probably like, oh, these annoying little children that won't let go of us. But I think the other thing that I would say happened in high school is first jobs. Mm-hmm. You know, I feel like everyone gets their first jobs in high school. But I don't know if you want to start off on that, because I don't know. Did you do anything in the Philippines? Before you got here?
I did stuff in, like, 6th grade. I got an internship in 6th grade, and I worked at McDonald's when I was 8, but that's another story. We'll talk about that.
What? You got an internship in 6th grade?
Yeah. It was
what kind of internship in 6th grade?
It was like... So, I was really into this magazine that was targeted towards preteens, and they would, like, give advice, talk about, like, celebrities, and, like, I don't know, things like that. And I was really into it, and I think when I was in 6th grade, they posted in their magazine that they had an internship program where you could work with them for, like, a week on, like, magazine stuff. A week. They don't trust us enough to, like, work longer.
But yeah, because you're 6th grade.
Because we were in 6th grade.
You're 6th grade. Okay, continue.
We would, like, my position was, like, an art person. I don't remember my exact title, but I was, like, an art person, and I would help make setups for, like, photo shoots with people. I would, we made, like, little posters for that magazine's issue, so I got to work on that a little bit. I took a couple of photos. They were small things, but that is my job in the Philippines.
So this was the yearbook before yearbook.
The yearbook before yearbook, pretty much.
Dang, in 6th grade. Bro, what was I doing in 6th grade? I was probably, like, you know, playing dangerous dodgeball games back in primary school.
On the roof.
Shh. But, wow, okay. Dang, I did not expect your first job to be before middle school. I have not heard about this before. I thought your first job was, like, in high school.
My high school jobs were, I had an internship at a local museum, the Computer History Museum, and, I gave tours to families and kids. Did they know what was going on? No, but...
I remember this.
Yeah.
I remember this. Because you used to tell me about this, and I would be like, oh, that's cool.
It was fun.
Yeah, I think my first job was at Skyhawks.
Oh.
And this was freshman year summer, so the summer right after freshman year. Obviously, you're too young to apply for, like, actual internships and stuff.
Right.
Because I think, how old are you, like, freshman year?
Like 14, 15?
14? Yeah, 14, 15. Probably 14, 15. Yeah, not 13, sorry. That's 8th grade. But probably 14, 15. So you're still too young to apply for, like, the majority of internships and, like, volunteers. There's some volunteer stuff you can do, I guess, but I don't know. Me and the 3 other people that I knew that, like, applied for it, basically, we were all like, oh, we're gonna make money, yay! And, oh my gosh, like, I have nothing against Skyhawks and working there. Like, it was a very good experience, but it's not something that I think I'll do again. You know, like...
Because...
You're stuck in the sun from, like, 8 in the morning, actually even earlier, because the staff had to get there early to set up everything. So, for those who don't know, Skyhawks is like this sports camp for little kids, essentially, and it's like, you know, you have kind of 2 sections, I guess. You have, like, the super, like, small, I don't know, they had names for it. They had names for the categories, but the, like, very young children, so, like, toddlers, kind of, you would introduce them to all kinds of sports. So they would have them play soccer, baseball, basketball, and one other sport that I can't remember. Or maybe it was just those 3. No, I think it was just those 3. And so they had that, and then they also had, like, the sports camps for older kids where they focused on one sport. And when I initially, like, applied for the position, basically, I wanted to do, like, the tennis thing where, because obviously I played tennis, I was like, okay, I can, you know, teach children how to play tennis, we'll play games and stuff, right? But I ended up in the, like, the toddler program, like, heading the toddler program for a little while, basically, for the majority of the summer, actually, and we would get there at, like, 7:30 in the morning, you know, spend half an hour, like, prepping everything, so, like, setting up the goals and setting up, like, all the equipment and things like that, and making sure that you were ready for parents to come in and sign up and, like, sign their kids in and, you know, things like that. And the toddler one was mainly a half-day program, but they also had full-day programs. So essentially, I was stuck out in the sun in summer from 7:30 in the morning to, like, 12, I think, and then the all-day one was until 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So it was just, and on top of that, like, little kids are fun, and, like, you know, obviously, like, I live with my little cousin now, and, like, I have that interaction more, but back then, oh my god, it was so tedious, because you would just go in and teach them a few, like, things, I guess, and on top of that, I didn't, like, actively play soccer, basketball, or baseball, right? So I was just, like, kind of, like, handed the job over to my director and had them do all the work while I just, you know, took care of the kids and stuff and made sure they were, like, supervised at all times and doing things right and whatnot. But yeah, no, it was, like, a decent experience. I feel like, I think one of the reasons that I wouldn't do it again is because you did not get paid that much.
Oh,
it was,
that's
like,
unfortunate.
Minimum wage, and on top of that, when I had to do taxes for it the next, like, year, or not year, but, like, when tax season comes around, basically. And I was so upset because I barely made anything in the first place. And then I had to get rid of, like, a bunch of it anyway to taxes. But yeah, then I ended up moving on to tutoring, and that was a good job, so, which I'm still doing, so, yeah. Definitely not the best first job, but I guess you have to start somewhere, right? Like, most people, I feel like, in our school start at the nearby
restaurants,
fast food places and stuff. Yeah. Especially Chipotle. We had so many people from our school that would work at Chipotle.
And Target.
And Target, oh my god. And Trader Joe's.
Oh my god, yes.
Trader Joe's. I hope they don't listen to this.
I doubt it. Also, as someone who's worked at a summer camp, I feel your struggles. I remember the heat. I remember getting paid minimum wage.
It's
I remember
so
the
hot.
like 22 children like coming up to you asking questions that you don't know how to answer.
And it's so hot as well
Right.
because, like, some days it would be, a solid, like, 90 to 100 degrees. And you're just sitting there sweating, and, like, you could stand and you would start sweating because it was just hot. And these kids, they're restless. They're, like, excited.
Yeah.
They want to run around. They want to, like, go do things. And you're like, the last thing I want to do right now is play tag in the middle of this giant field and run around. But you have to anyway. But I'm pretty sure the one good thing though was that Fridays, because these camps were basically in week. You had like, if you were a customer, you would have to pay for like the week, and then the staff would basically get placed somewhere different almost every week. Right? So, like, I had a week-long shift in San Jose, and then the next week, I was in a different part of San Jose for, like, a tennis camp, right? And most of the directors, so you would basically have, like, a director and then one staff at the location, and I was obviously staff because I was too young to be a director, but old enough to be staff. And the directors, they caught on that we were all dying in the heat. So every Friday, they used to promise the kids, they would be like, and this was just also a method to keep the kids in control, but they promised the kids, if you're all good, we'll do water balloons on Friday.
Oh, that's cute.
And it was so good because not only were the kids finally, like, in control, like, a lot of them, we would, oh my god, I feel like we overused the water balloon excuse, but we would sit there and be like, do you guys want water balloons this Friday? Every time, like, a kid stepped out of line or something. But, no, that was, like, probably the highlight of the whole thing. The fact that every Friday for a whole summer I was in the middle of water balloon fights, getting out of the heat and stuff,
cute.
essentially. But yeah, no, literally that summer, shambles. But yeah. Man, first jobs are...
They're something.
Yikes.
But like you said, everyone has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
It builds up.
And then you kind of grow and you get to do other things, right? Like, you do a lot of cool stuff now with, like, design and whatnot.
Sure.
And obviously, like, I tutor now, and it's not, like, the coolest job or anything, but I enjoy it a lot more because there's so much more benefits, and I get to, like, not only benefits, but also just, like, being able to, like, help other kids out and stuff like that.
That's a good feeling.
That's, like, it's just a good feeling, and, like, obviously there are also benefits.
You make bank.
No, I don't. What are you talking about? I'm so broke. But, yeah. Anyway, maybe this is a good place to stop for today.
Yeah.
And wrap it up. But I think we should probably do a little bit of, like, high school advice or something. I mean, we spent all of this episode talking about high school and recapping a lot of aspects of high school, so any advice for current high schoolers?
I would say, like, this is so cliche, but, like, don't be afraid to do things. Or, like, it's okay to be afraid to do things, but you should try to do them anyway, because you'll have regrets in the future. Like, we talked about studying over, like, hanging out with friends, or, like, I know that there were a lot of, like, clubs and stuff I wanted to join, but I was too scared to because I was scared that I wouldn't connect with the people, like, in the clubs. So that would be my piece of advice, I guess.
I guess I'll take it from there. I would say probably my advice would just be, like, I think a lot of this comes from personal experience, but just the fact that, like, high school does kind of suck a lot of the time.
You're not wrong.
it's like, that's just how it is, It's just something that you have to get through and stuff, but know that it will get better, Like, there's so many opportunities for you to, like, I think I would also like to take, like, what you said and be like, go out and try things, like, go to a club meeting or go out with friends and stuff like that, and, like, basically come out of it with no regrets,
right?
But yeah, just know that things do get better, and that high school is just one little itty bitty section of your life.
Right.
It's 4 years. It's 4 very long, tedious years, but things get so much better as you move on, and like, just make the best of what you
Right.
like. Make the best of it, but it does get better for the people that are struggling anyway. But
To add, I feel like you grow a lot more than you think in high school. Like,
true.
the last
True.
4 years of my life have been absolutely chaotic and like stressful, and like I've dealt with more than I ever did like prior, but I got a lot out of it, even if I didn't realize it in the moment. Even though I was cursing my tests and like petty fights and stuff, like I got something out of it. And if you're going through something similar, you probably can too.
I feel like the high school mindset, kind of like, most high schoolers kind of feel like, oh, this is it. And I don't know if that's just like us, or like a Silicon Valley thing where you're, again, you're so pressurized here, and like there's a lot of tension and stuff, and like expectations and standards that you have to meet. But I don't know where I was going with this. No,
you get through it.
Yeah, the idea is that you do get through it, and like, high school isn't just it. Like,
right.
There's so much, like, you have so much life ahead of you and stuff like that, and
it's just a weird slice in your life.
Exactly. It's just, that's just the beginning of the game of life. There's a lot more to it, like college, careers, like, there's just so much after high school. So for the people that are kind of like in that mindset, just remember that you have so much more to look forward to and so much more coming. So yeah, it gets better, we promise. But that being said, I guess we will wrap it up now. Next episode, we are going to have a guest. Yes! I know last episode we did mention, oh, maybe on episode 2 we'll have a guest. Yeah, that was never in the plan. But episode 3, we will have a guest, which we are very excited for. So look forward to that next week. What day is next week? January.
Let me pull up the calendar.
January.
wait. January 16th.
January 16th. Okay, so January 16th, episode 3 of the
Game of Life
podcast. We're gonna have a guest. Quick sneak peek. Her name's Belinda.
we mentioned her earlier.
We mentioned her earlier, and for anyone who doesn't know Belinda, great person. So we are very excited to have her on the podcast. But yeah, look forward to that. Yeah, I guess we're done for the day. All right. We will see you on episode 3 of the Game of Life on January 16th with our first guest. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in.